A lot of times I'm thinking about words that I need to hear and what would make a difference in my life, because I'm like everybody else and I have this negative self-talk loop that sometimes acts up in my brain, and by being able to write the words that I long to hear, it's like creating a mantra, and it replaces that negative talk with something positive. But then when I get to actually create a note with those words, I get to inspire and help somebody. And every now and then when I place up a note, I just hope that the right person finds it. And if I get to see them somehow out of the corner of my eye and see that they've smiled and that it makes a difference for them, I know that what I'm doing matters more than just to me. And that's such a good feeling. When I was 7 years old, somebody left a note for me to find that was meant to hurt me. And it said, "You are not kind, you are not respectful, and you are not fun to be with." And it really affected me. It was something that changed me from being this really lighthearted, fun, whimsical child to suddenly being really sullen and really self-conscious. And am I not a good person? And having these heavy thoughts. And I thought, later in life, when I was looking back on that moment, if one note could have changed my life that much, then what could a positive note do for me or for anybody else on this planet? So I started writing them, hoping that I could catch people with that same caught off guard feeling of finding a note that is super important, but actually changes their life for the better and makes them inspired to live a full, healthy, happy life. Finding places to put notes is really as spontaneous as writing them. I like to think about places where people might go if they're having a hard time, maybe somewhere a little desolate like an alleyway. And if I can meet them with some kind words while they're having a tough day, then that makes all the difference. As I leave notes, it's not always as well received as I had intended. I just got asked to leave a bookstore because they weren't sure they wanted my notes in their books. And it happens sometimes. Some people think of it more like it's graffiti. Some people think of it as litter. But I think most people actually enjoy it and like it. And I just hope for that as much as possible because my intentions are good. So there's an old one. Who knows what it ever once said? There's nothing left of it. It's become one with the pole, but I think there's a dream of mine that somebody might one day just write something kind and give it a second life. One of the things that can be frustrating about it is you write a note, it means so much to you, you put it into the universe and nobody finds it, or they, fly away in a breeze and who knows where they end up. I think that's where it's important to remember half the nutrients in this are in writing the notes themselves and just going out of your house and putting yourself in a situation that's a little different, a little maybe uncomfortable, and giving yourself that boost. It's not always about who finds it. Sometimes it's about who writes it and what it means for them. Ah, that's an old one. So sometimes when I'm out here putting up new notes, I find ones that nobody else has discovered yet. And this one's probably been out for 3 or 4 months. So it's a lot of people parking in this spot who have had the opportunity to read. Make your choices from love, not for love. And yeah, I'm glad it's still out there. When a lot of us think of things that we'd want to change in the world, we think of the barriers first. And my hope is that people see Random Note Project and they hear my story and they realize, start today, because you never are in a position where you don't have what you need to make even a small difference in the world. And so you might as well get started because it can become something big if you give it that time. I was out hiding my random notes one day and a gentleman approached me. He asked me what I was doing, and without really thinking, I just pulled a note from the envelope and handed it to him and explained the project. And
He was really moved by it, and I didn't understand at the time, but he later told me that he was thinking a lot about, his life and if it had meaning and purpose and if he wanted to continue living it. After our conversation, I was just a few steps away and he called my name, Gabrielle, and he said, "Will I see you next week? Because your note said I have many beautiful days ahead." And that just gave me chills because for me, Random Note Project was never really intended to save a life, but in that moment it did. And it's still, it's not going to take the place of proper mental health care, but it is still something that can really make a big difference. This project, it's not something silly that a kid cooked up, because maybe in some ways that is the way I saw it. Like, this is something I did as a kid and whatever, I do it for fun now. But it's actually really serious. It's serious for the people who find the note, so that moment was a big turning point.